Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Am I the Asshole? If you're a fan of hearing Reddit stories, it would really support the channel if you could give us a like or subscribe. Now, let's get right into our first story. Am I the asshole for refusing to name my baby after a dead girl? I, 25 female, and my husband, 27 male, have a complicated history together, especially concerning his family. I met him on a blind date when we were both in college, and he asked me to be his girlfriend on our second date. He's always been sweet, trying to be considerate of my feelings, especially when it comes to his family. His mother has always been against our relationship from the start, mostly due to the reasons I think I might be the asshole here. He had a friend, let's call her Annie, who passed away when he was a teenager. He's always been close with her, and he always insisted they were platonic. However, his mother always talked about how they were supposed to get married as adults, and I was his second choice, and he wouldn't have married me if she was alive. It's always hurt, in all honesty. And I've tried as hard as I can to be accommodating for her and her grief, as she cared about Annie a lot and was even friends with her mother. Annie was a great girl, and I do wish I could have gotten to know her, but it hurts being constantly compared to the woman my husband could have been with, especially since we already have a son who his mother isn't allowed to see because of her insistence that he's not her real grandbaby because he isn't Annie's. So this is where I think I probably overreacted and could be the asshole. We found out 2 months ago that we were having a baby girl, and we were ecstatic. I was worried he'd be one of those boy-only fathers, but he almost cried finding out we'd have a girl. Our son is also over the moon, constantly talking to his sister and asking for her name, which has become an issue as he recently asked to name our daughter after Annie, which was upsetting, especially since his mother is so hung up about them being together. We ended up arguing slightly, and I'm currently staying with my son at a friend's house. Am I overthinking this? I just don't know what to do. His mom has been blowing up my messages. I don't even know how she got my messenger. Me and him haven't spoken to her since our son's first birthday, and my mama has just told me to stop arguing over it and just let him choose her name since she's his only daughter. Any advice is appreciated. I need a non-biased opinion. My friend says that I was overreacting for leaving, but I just needed time for myself, and I don't want to confront him right now. I know I can be sensitive without realizing so many input is appreciated. Minor edit. First, I wanted to thank everyone who answered. Sometimes I feel like I'm going crazy, feeling like I do. Please tell me if I missed anything. There's too many comments to sort through. Annie died at 18 in an accident, and yes, her and my husband's mothers were friends. Me and my husband met when I had recently started college, and we got married a year later. Our son is 3. My husband always defends and stands up to his mother when it comes down to it. I know he cares about me, but I worry sometimes if he'll subconsciously start believing what she says. I know I'm his wife, I'm the woman he married and has kids with, but it's hard not to feel secondary sometimes. My husband works a lot, and at the moment I wasn't thinking straight, but thinking about it. I think it was a better choice to take him, as I don't want him to be left alone by himself. I won't argue if he wants to see him or wants to pick him up in his free time. I'm just not ready to speak to him at the moment. As in for compromise. After reading through some comments, I think using any name similar to Anne might be an issue. While I understand the sentiment is sweet, I don't want to feel pressured into a name that I know I'll regret. Not the asshole. Saw a post that may have been hubby earlier. Wanting to name your child with a name that has caused so much trauma in your relationship is unfair to you. Due to his mother's behavior, his friend's name is now off the card. You daughter will also be favored over your son because she is the memorial to Annie. This name is now toxic to your marriage. The fact he let it get to the point you have had to leave your home whilst pregnant is not right. You can get by it, but he needs to understand that he could damage the relationship between you and your daughter before she is born, cause resentment with her brother because she's favorite, cause trauma for you every time her name is mentioned. Good luck. Not the asshole completely. Oh, totally the hubs, and they are ripping him a new one over there. OP, I'm sorry you're dealing with this nonsense. Your mother-in-law is a whack job, and Hubs is just playing into it. Not the asshole. His mom won't accept her grandson? That's a no contact right there. How has your husband dealt with that? Because if my mother did that, I'd go scorched earth. Do not name your baby Annie or Anna or anything remotely linked to that now. The link with Annie is clearly toxic for your family and it needs to be shut down. Although from what you said about her, she'd be fuming about the way his mom is behaving. You husband needs get on board with Annie not being a name option, and he needs to sort his mother out or cut her out. You had my not the asshole have a son who his mother isn't allowed to see because of her insistence that he's not her real grandbaby because he isn't Annie's. That his mother doesn't acknowledge your little boy as her real grandchild is disgusting. It's very unfair of your husband to even consider using the name Annie when you've been second to Annie for your entire relationship. You both need to have a deep and serious conversation about this. Your husband must be made to understand that his mother's stance is unacceptable, and so is the pressure to force you to name your daughter after his late girlfriend. I wonder if his mother would say your daughter is not her real grandchild if you don't use the name. Well, that's another episode of Am I the Asshole in the books. I really appreciate all of you who made it this far into the video. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, it would really help the channel out a lot if you gave the video a thumbs up, subscribe, or leave a comment down below. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.